Welcome back to the At Home with Roby show. I'm Ashley Davis along with Trent and Haston. We're your hosts. We're glad you're spending your Sunday morning with us. Whether you're in the car or on the couch, you're always at home with Roby. Visit us today at andrewroby.com. That's Andrew, ROBY.com. Or you can always click on the At Home with Roby tab at WBT.com. Trent, we've talked a lot in the last two segments about the history of the Andrew Roby Company. If people want to know more about that, they can always go to the website. Not just look at the history, but look at the things we're doing now. But when you and Travis both got out of school, generally in the early 2000s, you both had a vision for what you wanted the company to be, and you talked about it in an earlier segment. Travis is out there. He is the brains of the operation when it comes to how to build a house, probably the best home builder in Charlotte. You are a good teammate with him and that you guys are growing the company together. Let's talk about what that vision was that the two of you had and how what's it based on other than the history and the foundational principles that your father and grandfather taught you.
In that I don't know how to build like my
I wasn't
brother.
going there. I wasn't going to go there, but I was.
We got a couple high profile clients in Charlotte that I originally estimated their project and was the project manager on the first couple rounds of projects, and then they've gotten to know my brother because we just serviced their account, and they love to antagonize us and give me a hard time about not working and not knowing what I'm doing, my brother knowing everything, but it's true. So I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we have our roles, and I'm the dumb one of the crew. But no, so 2000, I mean, 50-year business. We were a production company. We were carpenters. I used to tell my dad when I was a kid that my dad was a carpenter, and that's what he was. And we primarily did custom residential. We did some commercial for our existing clients because we serviced like we do today. Now
Right.
We just brand it and promote it a lot more. But we did a lot of remodeling because that's just what it led to. And we built some custom houses in Eastover. We've had Hal Tribble and those guys on here, the architects and stuff that my granddad built those houses for. But we were a small company, family business, and we came out and all I knew, I tell you this story. I graduated Carolina and had figured college out as a business and thought I was something and thought everybody that was getting out of Carolina would be making $50,000-$60,000 a year in 2000, and the truth was they were probably only making $28,000 a year in 2000, graduating Carolina, and I'm sitting in my office, and I look at my dad, and he hates these conversations, and I say, well, hey, man, I'm trying to be a little businessman here, and I say, what am I going to make? And this is smooth as ice. You're going to make $15 an hour, 40 hours a week. That's $600. And I'm going to pay you for 40, but you're going to work 70. And you get my old pickup truck. You get a gas card. By the way, I'm going to go buy a new pickup truck. And you get a gas card, and you get a couple weeks paid vacation. About that time, he's halfway out the door in my office, and I'm the businessman that I am. I'm so experienced here. I'm so professional. I look at him and say, time out. How do I get a raise? And he poked his head back in the door. The worst conversations my dad ever had were talking about money with people. And he said, triple what I'm making, I'll give you a raise, and the door shut. And he was gone, vanished. And all I knew was I believed in what we had. I believed in our people. I believed in our superintendent. My boss my whole life was Ken Laney. He was with us about 25 years, tragically died in 2003 on vacation adopting a child in Mexico. And I love Ken. He was my boss. My dad was not my boss. And all I knew was I needed to go estimate projects, sell projects, get leads, treat people good, and raise money by running a business. And I tell everybody this, how young and dumb we are at every stage of our life. But if I would have thought, Lord, God willing, I didn't. If I'd have thought about how much my dad was making, I'd have probably thought he was making $1 million a year, and he truly was probably making $50,000 or less a year. Yeah. And I'm glad my mind never went there. I'm glad the devil didn't jump in it and make me think about something like that. I just went and started working. About 3 years later, we had almost tripled our revenue, and we were doing pretty good financially, but our clients were getting a little discontent because I had a little head trash because we were selling them projects that I don't think they were getting serviced as well on. It helps your margins when you don't have any overhead. But I was frustrated, and my dad said, "Hey," I was complaining to him one night, and he said, "Hey, you either in or out. Don't grow this thing anymore. Go if you need to go be happy doing something else. Go be happy doing something else. But you can't grow this thing anymore and leave it with us because they didn't want to run. We were happy,
Right?
and you complain a lot," is what he said. But I took heed and I committed. I was committed before, but I really had to proactively commit. And we tore it back down a little bit, and we were still primarily doing renovations and custom residential. Tore it back down a little bit and started building a structure. I hired our first couple project managers, sales guys that were outside of the family. Hired our first bookkeeper in 2003, and I say this, our CFO today, we did his house in 2002, 2003. David Baird, he's awesome. And I'm sitting at his dinner table. He was the client that invited me and my wife over when his kitchen was done. Everybody says they're going to do that. Yeah. They don't do it. And I understand why. And I'm sitting there, and he looks at me and says, "Hey, I love working with you and your dad." And I had been his project manager. He said, "When you can hire me, don't overlook me." I didn't even have a bookkeeper at the time. We were using QuickBooks as a check distributor. It was like negative $15 million because all I had was checks out, nothing in.
Right, nothing in.
And I looked at him, and I wasn't that bright, but I said, "MBA, CPA, he's crazy as a cuckoo bird." I told him that, and he said, "All I'm telling you is when you can hire me, when you're to that level, don't overlook me.
Yeah.
I'd like to be part of your team." 10 years later,
there he is.
In 2013, he joined. 2012, he joined us.
So let's talk about, folks, you're listening to the At Home with Roby show. We're talking about the history of the company, the current state of the company. If you want to know more about the Andrew Roby Company, go to andrewroby.com. But Trent, how do you make that jump? I mean, you jump in. You had a lot of, as you call it, a little bravado there. You're coming out of college. You're in your early 20s. You're gonna not really want to prove
foolish.
Well, not you're not trying to prove anything to your dad, but you do want to be successful. And then you meet David Baird, and you think, God, I can never hire this guy. What are the things you put in place? And we got about 3 minutes left in this segment that kind of got you to that point where you could make that phone call to David Baird.
Well, we hit a limit. We built a team. Hired a couple project managers. Chris Maynard's still with us today, a valuable resource. He's the first guy that I ever realized could do something better at a certain area than me, can sell better and treat clients better than me. He's really good at it, those who know him. And we built that team, and we were still a family business in the field, and the more we grew, we were hurting our field, and we had to figure that out, and it was bouncing off some walls. And I'll tell you, we bounced off walls a couple times going into the recession, and the recession hit us really hard. I think our revenue dropped about 50% from 2008 to 2009. 2008 was still a good year. 2009 was the worst year ever in my relative life, and out of that we started branding, and we started trying to really. Our vision from 2009 to 15 is, what do our clients need? How do we need to service our clients better? And everybody says, what else are you going to do? You going to do Roby this? Right? No. We're really focused, and we've said this. The reason why we did Roby Realty or doing Roby Realty is because we thought that was a need our clients needed, and it complemented our other business services. And that's why we're in commercial, because our clients run commercial businesses. They manage properties. So that's why we do what we do, and that's what we are. There's a couple books I love. I was always a big advocate reader, and now when I mentor people and our guys, I give them books to read. I see who reads them and who doesn't. But my first book that I really caught my eye was Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And then a couple books, mentality-wise, Instant Millionaire and The Richest Man in Babylon are great books. And then what we really based our business off of is the book Good to Great, and a book that complements that is Breakthrough Companies. It takes Good to Great down to companies like nimble, like Roby Small Companies.
Right.
So that's the platform of our business today.
Hold that thought. Great platform, great way to grow the business, a lot of great information. When we come back, we're going to take a quick break. But, Trent, I'd like to talk when we come back about how you've taken that and really put those principles into making someone's home their home for life, which is what the Andrew Roby Company is
And
all
I have
about.
a good story to tell about my dad.
Exactly. All right, you're listening to the At Home with Roby show. Visit us today at andrewroby.com. We'll be right back.